Welcome back to another rock tumbling video. In the last video you saw me build what I think is a pretty cool rock tumbler, and in this video we're going to send it on its maiden voyage. I've been online, I've got myself all sorts of grits, all sorts of ceramic media, so in this video we're going to try and figure out what all that does and what it all means. So where on earth do I begin? I don't think this is going to be a simple hobby to master. I am diving headfirst into it. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm watching a lot of blogs and reading a lot of things and got all these cool ideas bouncing around, but I think I need to master the basics, and this is what this video is kind of going to be for me. From what I can ascertain from things I've read is that polishing a rock is just like sanding a piece of wood. You start with, a coarse grit of sandpaper and you work your way up, and you're making scratches in the wood, and then you're making smaller scratches on those bigger scratches until your scratches are smaller and smaller, and you get that nice sanded finish, or polished in this example. So I went online and I bought a pack of 4 grits. It seems to be quite common that they come in a pack of 4. A coarse, a medium, a pre-polish, and a polished grit, from 60 grit all the way up to stage 4, which is 1200 grit. I also bought a ceramic media. I've just given some of it a wash, but yeah, jar of ceramic media which helps cushion the rocks. So stage 1 is your coarse grit, and what I've got is a 60 grit. This is a silicon carbide grit. I've just got a pound of it there. This stage is all about shaping, the initial shaping of your rocks. Depending on the type of rock you've got, it looks like sometimes you run this stage longer, some people run this for a week, some people run it for 2, depends on the stage. I've got quite nice smooth river stones, like this one here. I might skip this stage. I don't know if that is the right thing to do. Do not take this as skip stage 1, you don't need it. But my rocks are very smooth already. I have read people online saying don't skip stage 1. I've read some forums where people say it's okay to skip. If you're watching this and you're yelling at your computer right now, please tell me in the comments. I'm going to skip it. I may come to regret that later on. Now stage 2, or step 2, is our medium grit. I've got a 220 grit, exact same thing, silicon carbide grit. We'll probably do that for a week. We'll probably start on this stage. We'll do a week of this grit. You can hear just by shaking them, they're already like a finer powder, which I guess makes sense, right? Now stage 3 is a pre-polish. Again, I've got a silicon carbide pre-polish. This is a 500 grit. This only actually came with half a pound. I'm not sure why. So we're going to use this probably for about a week as well. We're using about, from what I can read online, about 3 scoops of this. These came with a little scoop, or about 3 tablespoons. I might need to use more because I've got these beautiful big barrels I'm going to use. But yeah, they say for a 3-pound barrel, which is about 1.5 kilos of rocks, you're using about 3 spoons of the grits, and maybe a bit more when we get to the polishing stage. So we're just going to play with that and experiment with that as well. I'm hoping to fill these up quite a bit, 2/3 full. So that's probably going to be about 3 kilos of rock. So we might be looking at anywhere up to sort of 6 tablespoons of these grits as we go through them. And the stage 4 I bought is a 1200 grit. This is the polish stage. This is not silicon carbide. This is a white powder. This is aluminum oxide, and this is a 1200 grit. So we're ranging all the way from 60 grit all the way up to 1200 grit. Now this stage, from what I can tell, you want to run for like a week and check them. Running this stage for longer doesn't necessarily mean more of a polish. So we'll do this for a week. We'll check the rocks. If they need another week on top of that, we'll run them for a week again. And the other thing that my little starter kit came with was ceramic media. These kind of like little ceramic beads. And 2 sort of purposes from what I can understand for ceramic media. The first is to cushion your rocks. You imagine if we just had rocks in here and this was spinning around, the rocks are tumbling and banging into one another, because we're not filling this completely with water and we're not filling this completely with rocks, so there is room for them to bang into each other. So it acts as a cushioning agent between those rocks. The rocks tumble into the ceramic media and yeah, kind of cushions it. It's probably going to make this thing run a bit quieter as well, which is nice. Another thing that I've read that ceramic media does well is help mix your slurry around and get a really nice slurry. So we're going to try ceramic media. I think it'll be worthwhile. I've got that and another jar with some smaller ceramic media. So we'll give it a go. I think this whole process is about experimenting, trial and error, figuring out what works, what doesn't, and kind of mastering the craft of tumbling. So like I say, I think it's going to take me a little while to kind of master this. It is a big process as well. Like we're talking, you know, a week, a couple of weeks here. You know, this could be anywhere from 4 to 6 week process. So yeah, it's either going to be a really, yeah, we did it after 4 weeks, or a bit of a, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board and learn some more things and try again after 4 weeks. So we'll see. All right, so I actually built this rock tumbler for my lovely wife Chelsea here, because when we were traveling on the road, the kids and her somehow managed to amass not 1 but 2 buckets of stones like that from various beaches all around the South Island, basically, of New Zealand. So I'm going to let her pick out the rocks. This rock tumbler is going to be her baby. She's going to pick some out. We'll show you a bit of a before shot, and then we can do an after shot in probably about 4 weeks from now. Right, so we've got just under 3 kilos of rocks here, so about 6 pounds worth. So they're going to go into the barrel. Plenty of that ceramic media as well, just to try and fill up the rest of the barrel so they're not sort of banging into each other. We're going to put about 6 tablespoons of this stage 2 grit in, and yeah, on the tumbler, and we'll leave it for a week. Now this is the maiden voyage, and I have not tried the tumbler with this much weight. If you watch the video where we built it, we talked about the motor size and things. It's a pretty adequate motor, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get this one going, and then later on we'll have 2 of these barrels going. We're trying to have 2 different stages running at the same time, so let's see if it works. So that completes the first step, or I guess the second step, because we started on step 2. You're probably wondering in that shot you just saw, what's this barrel all about? What happened to this beautiful thing? Now if you saw the last video, the second video in this little mini series, you would have seen that this thing came apart in the garage after about 2 days of running. It unscrewed itself and it proceeded to drain all of its kind of gritty black water all over the floor of the garage. I've got a weird spot on the floor of the shed now I need to clean up. So in the last video we kind of cleaned the rock tumbler, we started again, we did a couple of mods, and I also treated myself to a new barrel. Slightly smaller barrel, yes, I know, much smaller. But I need to figure that problem out, but I want to in the meantime keep sort of polishing rocks and keep making this video. So yeah, the little 2 pound Lawtone barrel, I think this is a 2 pound barrel. It's been going good. We've done a week on the medium grit, the 220 grit. Step 2, we've done a week on that. So now what I'm going to do is clean this out, and then I'm going to start on step 3, which are the exciting ones because we're getting into our pre-polish and our polish stages. So the rocks, I had a little sneak peek before I started filming. The rocks don't look too much different. They were already quite smooth. That sort of step 2 would have just taken, you know, made them even smoother, I guess. Visually they're not shiny yet, that we haven't polished them, so I'm excited for the next couple of weeks. Now what we need to do is basically tip this out, but we don't want to lose the ceramic media. So that white ceramic media we put in, that's going to follow these rocks throughout the process. That's quite expensive, that stuff. Well, it is here in New Zealand anyway. I don't know if it's cheaper overseas, but I don't want to throw that out. So the goal is to drain this, to wash the rocks and the ceramic media and get rid of the watery grit that's left behind, the spent grit. That's kind of no use. We can't save that and reuse it. That grit's kind of been spent like an old piece of sandpaper, I suppose. So real simple. Bucket and a sieve, a strainer. One thing to bear in mind is that when we wash these rocks out, that grit that's in the bottom of this, the spent grit, it's going to kind of harden. So what we don't want to do is pour this excess water down any drains, down a sink or something like that, because it's liable to set and can go rock solid. So yeah, we just need to be careful about where we put it. I've seen a lot of people just leave it in the bucket, they let it dry out, throw it on the lawn, or they just toss it out over the grass and it kind of sets. But try and avoid drains with that. So what we'll do, we'll drain this through now. We will put some more water in, our nice clean ceramic media. We will start on a couple of spoons of step 3 pre-polish, which is 500 grit. Alright, so another week of tumbling done, that's stage 3. We have rinsed the rocks, rinsed that ceramic media. We're going to keep that ceramic media for stage 4. And we're obviously going to tip that slurry out in the garden or somewhere. We're not going to tip it down a drain, we're not going to drink it because it's going to set. And also give the actual barrel a good rinse out as well. We want all that spent grit washed out of the barrel. So now we're on stage 4, and exciting because this is the polishing, and some of these rocks are already starting to look pretty cool. They're a little bit hard to capture on camera, I realized, of how neat they look, but yeah, they're starting to look really neat. So I'm excited to see what a week of polishing will do. So step 4, so this is a 1200 grit polish that we're going to use for this. Some people do a week, some people do 2 weeks, so we are going to put it on for a week, see how they look, and if they even, if they need more of a polish up, we'll do another week on top of that. So yeah, step 4, see you in a few weeks. Alright, so it's been about 10 days now. I left it a little bit longer because I was working on some other projects, and I'm really happy with how these rocks are looking. They're starting to polish up nicely, super smooth. I'm having a bit of a hard time filming and showing you guys on camera how cool I think these rocks look. Tried some outside, some inside. It's kind of hard to really show off how shiny they are on camera. I might give them a little bit more time. I might do that at the end of this video. We'll finish this video shortly, but I might leave them for another week and just see what the difference is between now and like an extra week of polish. I've read online on a few forums that a lot of people do like at least 2 weeks for that final stage, so maybe 10 days isn't quite enough. So yeah, whoops, just about dropped that. That's the plan. I've actually got some glass running. I just smashed up some glass bottles, which was a bit of fun and made a heap of mess, and I'm going to have a crack at smoothing some glass. So I've got another barrel running glass at the moment. I'll put these back on for another week of polish, and you'll see the outcome of that glass in the next video, which will be 2 weeks for me, about 3 days for you, so stay tuned for that. Now the barrel performed awesome. I love these barrels. Didn't leak once. It's been running now. This whole process took 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, 4 weeks now. Probably do another week. So yeah, I was confident leaving these running. They didn't skip a beat. They didn't fall off the rollers. They didn't leak anywhere. They were awesome. They do get a bit grubby when you sort of spill your slurry on the outside of them, like I've just done. But I think they're going to last a long time. If I had the money, I'd buy half a dozen of these. I've got 2 now in the collection, but if I had a bit more money, I would buy a few more of these and just have all sorts of stuff running all day long on this rock tumbler. The weights doesn't seem to be a problem for the motor and stuff I purchased in that original video where we talked about motors and power supplies. The motor barely gets warm. I haven't noticed a big power bill. I guess we'll see next month. But yeah, I'll put these back on for another week of polish. Stay tuned for the next video where we look at the glass, and yeah, we'll see how the glass goes. I'm going to run the rock tumbler a little bit slower for the glass and just see if I can't get some really neat blue shards of smooth glass. And let me know if you'd like to see anything else. Would you like me to try and tumble anything else? What are you interested in? I've got a whole lot of greenstone in the bucket, New Zealand greenstone. I'm going to try and dig all that out, probably do a run of that as well. And yeah, just have fun, just play around with it a bit. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the last couple of videos. Another one in a few days. See you later.